there. Well, let's bring in for more Kedavan Gorjestani, our correspondent, joining us from Washington. Kedavan, good evening to you. What can you tell us about the prime suspect in this shooting?
Well, this 17-year-old man was arrested earlier today. He was arrested actually by the Illinois State Police. Illinois, which is the neighboring state, and the border is actually just about 15 miles from Kenosha. So that 17-year-old man apparently is a resident of Illinois and had come specifically to Kenosha to take part in these protests. Now, the local law enforcement say that this young man is suspected in having shot some of these protesters. It's not clear yet because there have been 2 deaths and 1 severely injured person in that violence overnight. And it's not clear yet whether this suspect, this young man, has been charged and is in custody for one or both of those killings. But he is in custody for first-degree homicide, and he's been held by the Illinois State Police. For now, he's waiting a hearing to be actually extradited back to Wisconsin, where the actual crime took place. And of course, this comes after that video surfaced overnight of this young white man walking on the streets of Kenosha with that assault rifle, and that video showing at least one instance where that man shoots at the protesters, and we see one of the protesters falling to the ground before the armed man walks away and passes by several police cars with his hands raised in the air, but the police cars just drive by despite protesters being heard on that video saying he shot someone, he shot someone. So this has triggered a lot of controversy around why the police did not intervene right away. But today there was the question also of this idea of vigilantes patrolling the streets, and the local law enforcement says that they believe this suspect was part of a larger group of militiamen patrolling the streets of Kenosha. And the sheriff of Kenosha County said that yesterday he had been asked by some people why he was not deputizing regular citizens to help patrol the street, and the sheriff said that at the time he had answered, "Oh, hell no." And he said that what happened overnight was just proof of why there was no way he was going to deputize regular people to help patrol the streets.
So that case, like you say, to pass before court, and of course we'll bring all developments on that as it happens. Back to Kenosha, Kedavan, the National Guard is being sent in. How significant is this?
Well, there are several elements to this reinforcement of the local law enforcement. Earlier, a couple of days ago, the National Guard of Wisconsin had already started going into Kenosha to help the local police and the local sheriff. And the President of the United States, Donald Trump, earlier today announced that he was sending in federal law enforcement as well as more national guards. This after the president said that he had his team had been on the phone with the governor of Wisconsin, Governor Evers, and that the governor himself had accepted and requested that federal help. And that is very significant because remember what happened in Portland with the violence there, where federal troops had been sent to defend some federal buildings and then intervened with protesters. At the time in Portland, those federal troops were not authorized by the governor. This time it is really a partnership between the government, local law enforcement, and federal law enforcement, all of them working together. And that's what we heard also during the press conference from both the mayor, the sheriff, and the police chief, saying that it was a group effort.
Kedavan Gorjestani in Washington, thank you very much indeed for bringing us the latest on the situation there in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And of course, we're watching for all developments as it happens. Kedavan, thanks again. Next here on France 24, Donald Trump.